Good morning, welcome my dear students back. This is Dr. Osama Kaishwa, and today I'm going to talk about the costs in the short run. Costs in the short run. We will take an example about the costs in the short run. Then there will be another video for the law of utility, of diminishing utility. The law of diminishing utility. So we'll make two videos, the costs of the short run, then costs of diminishing utilities. Let me explain quickly what we talk about in the last classes or last lectures, because it's very important for us to come to this point. We talk about there is a primary sector in any economic, and the primary sector is just extracting the raw materials without doing any added value for it, just extracting them. And we talk about the secondary sector means for the primary sector, if you extract oil or extract wood from the jungle, that's only primary. But when you shift or switch or you manufacture this wood into furniture, then this is a secondary sector. We talk also about the service sector and said, what is the service? What I'm doing just now is educational service. So this is a service. Okay, you cannot touch it in your hand, but you can realize the results of it. Okay, there are labor intensive process in any process, and there is capital intensive process. And the difference between them is how the portion of the labors you are working with you. If you have too much labors working, this is labor intensive, and this is favored for the underdeveloped countries because they have a lot of people. They want them to get employed. They want them to be employed. But here, the capital intensive is you depend more on the machinery, on the technology in your production. So you use few labor and more techniques like the robotics and the mechatronics and these factories. They all depend on the capitals for advanced tech, to buy advanced tech. Okay. Now we could talk about the explicit cost before, and we said that the explicit costs, as I told you before, the explicit cost is kind of cost like it's clear. Like when you are going to the cinema, the ticket of the cinema itself, $5. This is the explicit costs. But how about the implicit cost? What is the implicit cost? Implicit costs means what you, as example, you bought popcorn, you bought anything else when you went to the cinema, you went in a taxi or you went in an Uber. So all those are implicit costs. Means it's not directly related to the subject which you went for, but it's already there to serve that subject, to survive that subject. Okay, or this issue. Now we will go to the topic of what we are coming to talk today about, which is uh, the fixed cost, the variable cost, the average cost. All those we'll do now an example, and I will do it on the board in front of you. But first, we have to show some very important points before we go. If you have a table like this, given the following data, you have this data now, and this is a table. You will get it in the exam as example or whatever from three columns. It's one column, two columns, three columns. The first columns is a quantity. That's fine. Quantity. And the quantity is from zero. It goes from zero into 12. Perfect. That's very fine. The second column now, let us stop here and show it and say, talk about it, because most of the people do not know what the meaning of the fixed costs. What are the fixed costs? Fixed costs are those kind of costs which you always, if you do a project, it will be very huge amounts, and it will be done within the first or the initiates of the project, on the start of the project. And those costs, as example, like the machinery, like the lands, like your equipments, you will not buy it every day. You will buy it only once or twice in the whole life of your production period. So those fixed costs always, um, you buy it or you get it just for the sake of the production, to help you in generating profits, but you are not going to sell it back. You don't sell it back. So this is why it's fixed, because you don't sell it back. You didn't buy it to resell it. I will give example for this as example. If now I want to work as a taxi driver, so I bought a car just to work in it as Uber driver. Let's say like this. Okay, this car for me now, which I bought, is a fixed asset. It's a fixed asset. Fixed asset. Why? Because I bought it to generate profits, but I didn't buy it to trade in it. I mean, just to bring this car, buy it, then I got two, $3,100 profits in it, then I would sell it and buy another car. No, in that case, it will not be fixed. It will be a current asset. Okay. So the fixed assets, you buy it just for a sake. But for the dealer who is trading in cars, dealer, like any shop, automobiles retailer, and you want to buy a car from there, the dealer, this is the cars for him is not a fixed asset. No, no, the fixed, because he buys it usually he buys it for the sake of resell it back. So it is not a fixed asset, because fixed asset means that you buy it for the sake of generating profits, but not for the purpose of reselling it back. How about the variable costs? What are the variable costs? Variable costs are, so we said the variable costs are those costs related to the volume of production or the size of the production. What the meaning of this? The more you produce, the more the variable costs will be. Tell me like what? As example, take this example, the hydro or the electricity or the power. The more your machines will work, the more you will spend. The expenditures of the power will increase. Okay. The necessities for production, as example, like the raw materials. When you increase the volume of your production, you will increase the volume of the raw materials which you will need as inputs for your working and for your process. Also, like the oil, the gas, the gasoline, the kerosene, the benzene, all this which you would need for your machines. The pays which you pay for the labor, all those are kinds of variable costs. So all those comes in the figure of the variable cost, because all of these costs are increasing when you increase the volume of production. So before I leave this part, I just want to show you on the board the behavior of the fixed cost and the behavior of the variable cost in the short run. We are talking today about only, and we are only talking about the short run, not about the long run. So let's see how it works, and we'll see on the board how this will work. So I hope that you can see the board is properly. I actually like to watch work because all my life, more than 30 years, I'm teaching. So I use a board and I'm used to it. I'm familiar with the boards more than using high techniques. However, I have the high techniques, but I think this is a more convincing way to discuss to my students. Anyhow, let's see now. Let's say I have here, I have here uh, the fixed costs usually. If we say the price of the price or the cost price, and here is the quantity. Let's say fixed costs, it takes like this always. Or the price, of course, it's the costs here. So the fixed costs are fixed. It's only this area. This is fixed cost. This is the fixed cost. So it takes a straight line parallel to the horizontal, to the x-axis, like this way. And it never change because it's in the on the short run, it will never change. Okay, it's constant. It will never be changed. For that reason, we said it's a fixed costs. Fixed costs. Okay. See, it's this part from the. Okay. Now, what about the variable costs? Variable costs. You told me that the variable cost start from the point. Start from the zero level. The zero level. So how I will work it in that case? How I will do it? Variable costs, actually, if you did not produce, then the variable costs will be zero. The variable will be zero. If you did not produce, variable costs will be zero. Okay. But if you produce, the more you produce, the more the variable costs. We said the fixed, like the machines, equipments, land, this is the fixed. And the variables like the oil, like the pays for your employees, the workers who are working for you, all this we call it variable cost. So this is the variable cost. Variable cost. These are the variable cost. Variable. Here we go. Variable. The variable cost. Okay. Now, in all your studies, till you finish your studies, now those are partials of the total cost, because the total costs, as you will see, will equal the fixed cost plus the variable cost. Now, if I want to calculate the total costs, total cost, total cost will equals the fixed cost plus variable, of course, cost. The fixed, the total costs will equals the fixed costs plus the variable costs. Great. So from where I will draw it now? Now, how I will draw the total costs here? How I will draw from where? Just guess. From where? Will I start from this point? If I start from this point, then I neglected this point. It means that I neglected this point. No. Then from where I will start the total cost? Usually, the aggregate curves are above the partial curves. Take this point. The aggregate or the accumulate curves comes above or overwhelm the small curves. Like the big guy is always over the small sizes. That's the point. So we can start from here. We cannot start, but we can start from here because this is the fixed and the variable cost together. So we go like this. So this green represents the variable cost. Or let me make it in blue so it will be more clear. This represents the total cost of production. This represents the total cost of production. Total cost of production. Don't draw it from here. Don't draw it from there. You have to draw it overwhelming, or it passes over both of the fixed and the variable costs curves. It goes above of both of them. It goes above both of them. So let us now see. Go to the next point and go to the example which we have today. We'll go to our example which we have today. I'll share the screen back. Here is our example. You will have 3 columns like this. You will have 3 columns in your exam like this or whatever. And they will be asked for these questions, for the next questions. What are the questions? Calculate the total cost. That's very fine, because we know the total will be the fixed cost plus the variable costs. That's very great. Awesome. Second one is the average cost. We'll know how to calculate the average cost. We'll know how to calculate it, because we have average fixed cost and average variable cost. We'll get both of them. Then we will add them together. How about the marginal cost? I said before yesterday, the marginal is the difference in the total cost, the change which happened in the total cost due to producing extra 1 unit. We will write it on the board now while we are working, so no problem about this. Okay. This is the solution of the example, but I will do it on the board so it will be clear for my dear students. And those are the curves which we will do after we will draw the curves. After we draw out these curves, that's what we will do. It will look like this. Okay? It will look like this based on the behave of the numbers here. So, and this is constant as well. It does not change. So the curves of those four curves or those 3 curves do not change in the short run. They are the same. Okay, because the behavior of the numbers here represented in these curves, and the behavior of the numbers is a behavior, so it will not change. I'm talking about the short run. I'm not talking about the long run. It's another issue. I'm talking about in the short run, they don't change. They keep the same. Okay. Now let's go to the board. And for you guys, okay, everybody. So now I wrote the given on the board here, and I will use the small board just for writing every formula, how I did extract those columns, or how I will extract those columns. I will write it on this small board. So let's go. Let's start and work on it and see how we will fix this. How we will make a solution for this problem. Okay. So here now we go. The first one, we will get the total costs in this column, the total costs. Okay, total costs. Let's see the total costs. Like here, I will write it. Total cost will equal fixed cost, fixed plus variable. Okay, so it's fixed plus the variable cost. Both of them, the fixed cost and the variable cost, will equal the total cost. That means that if I say this is column number 1, this is column number 2, this is column number 3, those are given. So column number 4 will equals column number 2 and the numbers of column number 3, 2 and 3. Okay, then we will go for the first example. 1000 plus 0 is 1000. Okay, 1000 plus 100 is 1100. 1000 plus 160, this is 1160. 1000 plus 210, 1210. 1 plus 260, 1260. 1000 plus 300 is 1300. 1000 plus 360, 103,060. 1004 here, 1455. Okay, 1000 plus 560, 1560. 1720. 1900, 1900. 1190 is 2090. Finally, 1300, $2,300. So this is column number 4. This is column number 4. He asked also for the average fixed costs. Average fixed costs. Great. The average fixed costs, or column number 5, we call it column number 5. This column number 5. Average fixed cost, here the flow. Average fixed cost will equals fixed cost divided by number of units produced. Number of units. So, what is the meaning of this? The average fixed cost will be fixed costs divided by this one. As example, the first one, of course, is 1000 divided by 0. This will give me indefinite, but we write it only like a hyphen. The second one, as example, average fixed cost will be 1000 divided by 1. 1000 divided by 1 equals 1000. Okay, so here we will put hyphen. Okay, then 1000 here, fixed 1000 by 1 will be, let me write it here in this piece so that you can note 1000 by 1, this is 1000. I wrote it here anyhow. 1000 by 1 equals 1000. Then The next one will be 1000 by 2. 1000 by 2 equals 500. So we can say now that column 5 will equals column number 2 divided by column number 1. Column 2 divided by column number 1. The numbers of this column divided by the numbers of this column, and so on. So now 1000 by 3, that will give me 330, I guess. Average fixed cost 333.3. 333.3 here. Here, this one, 1000 by 2 will give me 500. 1000 by 4 will give me 250. 1000 by 5 will give me 200. 1000 by 6 will give me 1000 by 6 will give me 166.7. 166.7. And then I will complete the whole column by that the same way. I will complete the numbers of the rest of the column by the same way. So to save time, so here we go. Those are the numbers of the average fixed costs. If my handwriting is not very clear, you can go back to the example, because this is the example which I'm discussing. It's here on the board in front of you, so you can see it. It's average fixed cost, and I will write it for again, because I know some students now are saying it's not clear for me. So before I move to the next column, because actually we'll use the whole board. See, this is called average, AVERAGE, fixed, FIXED, costs, COSTS. Average fixed cost. I'm talking about the column because it seems that it's not very clear. Okay, we finished now average fixed costs, and we will move. If you write it down, you can write it down. If you cannot, you can have it from the example there on the notes. You can stop the notes on the video, or you can pause it and check out, or you can write it again. So here the average fixed cost. Now, what we will go next on this example? We will go to make another column that is average variable cost. Like we did the average fixed, we will do the average variable cost. Average, okay, I'll write it here so that will be clear, and I will enlarge the size of the column. However, we still have more. No, we have 2 more columns only, that's fine. So we can, here it is, average variable, VARIABLE, average variable cost, COSTS, average variable cost. Likewise, what we did in the fixed cost, we will do in the average variable cost. The same thing we will do here. So, but this time, number 6 will be number 3 divided by number 1. So, column number 6, this is column number 6, will be column number 3, the variable cost, divided by the column of number 1, the numbers here. Okay. So I will write the formula on the small board here. Average variable costs will equal variable costs divided by number of units. That means that if this is column 6, column 6 will equal the numbers of column 3 divided by the numbers of column 1. The numbers of column 3 divided by the numbers of column 1, the number 6. So let's go now for it and see how it will work like. Variable costs. So 0 by 0, it will give me here 0 or nothing. 0, the variable by the quantity. So here, the variable is 100 divided by 1 will give me 100. The 160 divided by 2. 160 divided by 2 will give me 80. Then 210 divided by 3 will give me 70. Right? Then 260 divided by 4. 260 divided by 4 will give me 260 divided by 4 will give me 65. Then I will do the rest for the rest of the whole column. The same for the rest of the whole column. So 300 by 5 will be 60. 360 divided by 6 will be 60. 455 divided by 4, this is number 7. 455 divided by 7 will give me divided by number 7 will give me average variable number 7 will give me 195. Okay. Number 7 average variable number 7 will give me 65. 65. What I did is 455 divided by 7. The same, all the same. So after 65, there will be 70, 80, 90, 70, 80, 90. And I want you to watch the average variable cost because it came down, it's declined, then it constant here, then it goes up again. Like watching the fixed variable cost, like you see, it came into down, just downhill, then it went uphill back. Okay, 90, then we have also 99.1, 99.1, then we have 108.7, 108.7. And this is regarding the average variable cost. So I just want you to watch what we did here because that's what we will draw the graph. When we come to draw the graph, that's what you will understand when we draw the graph. You will see that the graph is representing the behavior of the digits or the numbers in what we get here. So like you see, the fixed cost is also always constant. It's 1,000. It will never move. And we draw it with a horizontal line. The variable cost, look at the variable costs. It's increasing with increase of the size of the production. It started with 0 and it's ended with 1,300. So the more you produce, the more the variable cost. So this will be the variable cost. Total cost, as you see, is increasing. It's naturally it's increasing because the fixed is constant and the variable is increasing. So the total cost, which is the sum of them together, will increase. The average fixed cost, watch it. It goes down, goes down, goes down, goes down, goes down. So the average, the more you produce, the average fixed cost for the unit, the share of the unit from the costs will reduce. The share of each unit of the total costs will reduce because the number of units are increasing. So each one of them, the cost of each one of them will be reduced. Now we will come to the next column, which is average total cost. Average total cost or costs. How can we do it? How can we do it? The average total costs. How can we do it? Simply, like here, the fixed and the variable. Here is the total. So this one, column number 7, will be the sum of 5 and 6. So column number 7 will be, let me do it here. Now, column number 7, this column, will equals the numbers of column number 5, column 5, COL for column number 5, plus column number 6. The numbers here plus the numbers here. As example, let's see the first one. Of course, the first one, the average variable cost also will be unknown. And then we will go here to take those two together. So as example, 1000 plus 100 will be 1100. So let's see here. The average total cost, average total cost will equals 1000 plus 100, 1000 plus 100 will equals $1,100 or dollars 1,100. Then go ahead, my friend, go ahead. 580, this will be 580. And the rest for the whole column, the rest, you will do the rest for the rest of the columns. You will do the same thing. So here it will be 403.3, 403.3. Then after this will be 315. Yes, because 250 plus 65 will be 315. Then after this 260, and this 200 plus 60, 260. This will be 166.7 plus 60. That will be 226.7, 226.7. Then 143 plus 65 will be 208. 208. This numbers 143 plus 65 will be 208. Then 125 plus 70 will be 195. Then after this will be 191.1. Yeah, 191.1. And this will be 190. And this will be 99.9 and 99.1. This will be 190 as well. And the final one will be 83.3 plus 108.7. That will comes to 192. Still only we have one column more now to do. Is the last one which he asked for is the marginal costs. The marginal cost. I wrote it here. Marginal, MARGINAL, marginal costs, COST. What did we say about the marginal cost before? It's the change or the difference between the total costs if we increase the production with only one more unit. So what will happen to the total cost if we increase the production with only one unit? It's very simple. Now what we will do here to get the marginal cost, we'll see the total cost and see how much happened. What is the change? What happened in changing? Like, okay, we want what, but must make first marginal costs of the total or of the averages. We have to know. So it's here when you come to see the numbers. The total cost here 160. This is for only for the total costs. So I will get the marginal for the total cost. For the first one, of course, there is no marginal. I will put like this. Then after this, I will work on the column number 4. Then column number 8, the last one, this is number 8. The last column, this one is number 8. Column 8, this one. So column 8 will be the columns of 4 from each other. So column 4, the numbers of column 4 from each other. Two different between them. So as example, let's get now the marginal cost here. It is the difference between the total cost here, 1,100 plus minus the x1 number minus the x number of column 4. Any number minus the previous number or the x number of column number 4, which is the total cost. Very simply like this. So I would say here 1,100 minus 1,000. As example, here 1,100 minus 1,000, that will give me 100. Then I will write here 1,100 minus 1,000. Then I will write here 100. Let's go. 1,160 minus 100, that will give me 60. Then 1,210 minus 60, 160, that will give me 50. Okay. Then 1,260 minus 121, that will give me another 50. Right? Look at what I'm doing. The difference or the change in the total costs due to adding one more unit. When I add one more unit, what will happen to the total costs? This is simply the meaning of the marginal cost. Again, what will happen to the total costs when I add one more unit? So it's the difference in the total cost due to the difference in the production size. Okay, now the total cost here is 1,300 minus 1,260, that will be 40. Then 1,360 minus 1,300, that will give me 60. Then 1,455 minus 60, that will give me 95. Then after that, 1,560 minus 1,455, that will give me like 105. And this I will work till I end the this column. So after 105, there is 160, 160, 180, and 190, and 210. As example, if I get the last one is the difference between 2,300 and 2,090. Now we are done for this table. I know it's long, but it's very easy. As you see, quickly I will say back. 1 and 2 and 3, the columns 1 and 2 and 3 are given in the exam, given in the examples or whatever, because you must have the fixed costs and you must have the total cost, the variable costs. So you will get number 4, which is the total cost, which equals the fixed cost plus the variable cost. So 4 will equals 2 plus 3, 1,000 plus 0, 1,000, 1,000 plus 100 plus 1,100. Then the average fixed cost, will be the fixed cost on the number of units produced. Fixed cost, like here, 1,000 divided by 0, it's infinite. So we put, instead of infinite, we put this hyphen. 1,000 divided by 1 will give me 1,000. 1,000 divided by 2 will give me 500. 1,000 divided by 3 will give me 3.3, and so on for the rest of the column. How about the average variable costs? Same what we did in the average fixed costs, we'll do with the average variable costs. So it will be the variable costs divided by the quantity of production or the number produced. So the variable cost here, column 3, divided by the numbers of column 1, divided by the numbers of column 1. So 100 divided by 1 will give me 100, right? Okay. Then here, 160 divided by 2 will give me 80. Then here, 210 divided by 3 will give me 70. Then here, 260 divided by 4 will give me 65. And so on for the numbers, sorry, and so on, the average variable cost, and so on for the rest of the numbers. Now, average total costs will equals both together. So as example, 1000 plus 1000 fixed plus 100 variable, this will come to 1100. 500 plus 80, this will be 580. 333.3 plus 70 will give me 403.3, and so on. How about the marginal costs? What about the marginal cost? The marginal cost, we will say, like I was saying just now, it's the difference in between the, or what will happen, or what will change in the total costs if I will increase the production with only one unit. So this is how it works. So the total cost is 1000. Here, I put hyphen here on the margin. Then 1100 minus 1000, this will give me 100 because I added more one unit of production from 0 to 1. So this is what happened. Then I will go on for the rest of the numbers, the same thing. 1160 minus 1100, that will give me 60. This number minus this number will give me 6, and so on till the end of those columns. Now, can I draw the relationship between these numbers? Let me share the screen and let us go for the share. Okay. Here is what is in the board is here in front of you now. The answer of this question when we add, this was the question here. Just let me remind you, this was the question. And we did the total cost, the average cost, the marginal cost, and we're done. And we add those columns and everything is fine. Now, can we draw this facts? Can we draw this stuff? Yes, we can draw it. No problem. Because it's already like, let's see about the costs, each one of them. The average total cost, and ATC means average total cost. AVC means average variable costs. And MC means marginal cost. So let's see one by one. The average total cost, what happened to it? Average total cost, this is the curve of the average total cost. Let's see. So the average total costs, like you see here, it was 1100, and it went down till it become 192. But actually till 190, and this is a point when the average total cost equals the marginal costs. In this point, then after that there will be a turn back for the average total costs. The average total cost till this point, then it will turn this small loop. For that reason, it's from 190, it increased back to 192. This is for the average total cost. So if I want to draw the average total cost, I will draw it just sloping down, because the numbers of the average total cost started with 1100 and they are almost ended with 190 or 192, which means that this declination, or it's going down, it's falling down. So the slope of the average total cost is going downgrade. How about if I want to draw the average variable cost? The average variable cost. What we will see here, the average variable costs, like you see, started with 100, then it went down to a limit, then it started back to go up 65, 70, 80, 90, and increase. So the average variable cost, like here, it goes till it goes down, it declination, but the slope is not severe. It's not a sharp slope. for the average variable cost. Then it went up back. How about the average, the marginal cost? And this is the third of our lines today, the marginal cost. You notice that this is the marginal cost. This is the one, the marginal cost. And if you see here from what's in front of you, it was 100, then it went down till the limit of when the marginal cost equals the average variable cost on those two numbers, then it started back to increase, and it's increasing, and the marginal cost kept on increasing till it become to 210, like you see here. It becomes started with 100 and then it became 210. So the marginal cost, like you see here in the graph, started sloping down, but the slope is not severe, is not a sharp slope, is not a sharp one. Then it started back to come up to high limits. So we have here now today, we know what's the meaning of total cost, we know what the meaning of average cost, we know what the meaning of the fixed costs. All this we call it in the short run. And the short run, the fixed costs are constant, like I given examples before. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for having this class. And I advise you just please to watch the videos of mine many times if you can, because this will the frequency is very nice, because it will remind you with the techniques. If you miss any part, you can go back to this part and just play it back. Thank you and have a good night, and everyone stay safe. Thank you guys. Bye bye.